Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. It is the beginning of the Europa League quarter-finals, and the focus for this round will be on the Bundesliga leaders Bayer Leverkusen as they take on the current Conference League holders West Ham. For Leverkusen, they are having the season of a lifetime. Under Xabi Alonso, they have not lost a game all season. That is 41 games without defeat in all competitions. In the Europa League, they went 6 for 6 wins, and they almost fell at the last 16 hurdle in the last round against Karabag. They were 2-0 down in the first leg away from home, but came back to equalise in the 92nd minute, and they were also 2 down in the second leg. But a brace from Patrick Schick in added time rescued Leverkusen from elimination and from their first defeat of the season. The Hammers under David Moyes are currently 7th in the Premier League, but are on joint points with Manchester United, who are in 6th. They also coasted through their group stage, finishing 8 points clear of 3rd place. And the last 16 was made easier for them in the second leg after they fell to a 1-0 defeat to their opponents Freiburg in the first leg. The second leg saw a 5-0 win, which put them into the last 8 for the second time in the last 3 seasons in this competition. These two sides have already met before at the Bayer Arena in August at the end of pre-season. Leverkusen won that game by 4-0, but this game is under different circumstances as there is a place in the Europa League semi-final on the line. So will we see a repeat of that Leverkusen performance in pre-season, or can West Ham somehow put a defeat on Leverkusen's record for this season? It is absolutely ridiculous. We're coming towards the midpoint of April and Leverkusen still haven't lost a game in any competition this season. 41 games, 36 wins and 5 draws, 116 goals, 29 conceded. It is absolutely ridiculous. Xabi Alonso, their manager, has already said that he's going to stay for next season, so they could look to try and build on their success that they've already had this campaign. They are 1 win away from winning their first ever Bundesliga title, which would be such an achievement for the club. They are looking to win a European trophy as well, which would be absolutely fantastic. They have won a European trophy before. They won the UEFA Cup back in 1988 against Espanyol. This competition when it had a different name. So they have won this competition before, but haven't won it since 1988. And next season they could have a real go at the Champions League under Xabi Alonso with this system that is just mind-blowingly good. It's like a mix of Pep Guardiola with a mix of Jurgen Klopp. It's something to behold, and I'm very excited to watch them play. But it won't be an easy opponent. West Ham, we know, can be strong in Europe. They won the Conference League last season. They're having another good run in Europe again. They reached the semi-finals of this competition 2 seasons ago, where they were knocked out by German opposition of Eintracht Frankfurt, who went on to win the competition. So it's going to be difficult for them. I don't think West Ham would have picked Leverkusen to play if they had the choice, but it's who they've got in the draw and it's what they have to deal with. And like I said, Leverkusen was so close to being eliminated in this competition in the last round. They played Karabag in the last 16, a team that they did play in the group stage, which they beat home and away. But in the last 16, when they faced them again, they really struggled. Like I say, Karabag were 2-0 up in the first leg, but Leverkusen scored in the 70th minute and the 92nd minute to draw the game. And then in the home leg, for the second leg, they went 2-0 down again. So they were 4-2 down on aggregate, but somehow Leverkusen were able to turn it around. Jeremy Frimpong scored in the 72nd minute, and then a brace from Patrick Schick. He scored in the 93rd minute and scored the winner in the 97th to avoid extra time for Leverkusen and to send them to the last 8. So despite they've been pretty much unstoppable this season, it's been close at times, especially that round of 16 tie against Karabag, but they've got themselves through and they've got to face West Ham in the last 8. So it'll be very interesting to see how this game shapes up. We do think that West Ham have almost matched Leverkusen with their shape, which we'll look into once the game begins. Like I say, West Ham won the Conference League last season. Bayer Leverkusen did actually reach the semi-finals last season of this competition, but were beaten by Jose Mourinho's Roma. So this isn't new to Leverkusen. They've been here before. So we'll just have to see how they come up against a West Ham team who in recent years have been really good in European competition. By now know they have won the Bundesliga, so they should play with Freedom Smash Hammers. Well, yeah, I mean, yes, of course they've won it. Maybe not mathematically, but yes, they have pretty much won the Bundesliga, so they can definitely put a bit more focus into this Europa League running that they've got. Of course, they could have 5 games to play to win this, as they've got 2 legs quarterfinals, 2 legs semi-finals, then the final that is being played in Dublin. But definitely think they can't be too overconfident in this Leverkusen side. They've got to be wary of what West Ham can do. They've got plenty of elements in the team, West Ham, where they could hurt Bayer Leverkusen. There is no Jared Bowen tonight, which is a big miss, but they have got Lucas Paquetá, they've got Mohamed Kudus as well, with James Ward-Prowse, Mikel Antonio, who can be a handful up front as well. So both teams have clear, elements of their game which can hurt both. So it'd just be interesting how both teams do set up tactically. We'll go through both teams now. We'll start with the Leverkusen team, who make the 6 changes from their last league lineup at the weekend against Union Berlin in a 1-0 away win, and they have swapped their goalkeepers. He has been the main goalkeeper for the Europa League campaign, and that is Mate Kovar, who is brought in on a permanent deal from Manchester United in the summer. It is a back 3 of Loney from Bayern Munich, Josip Stanisic. He'll play alongside captain Jonathan Tah and Edmund Tapsoba. And a 4 along the midfield at right wing back is going to be Jeremy Frimpong, who scored 8 goals so far this season in the Bundesliga. He scored the same amount last season. On the left hand side of the wing backs is going to be Alejandro Grimaldo, who's brought in on a free in the summer from Benfica. The 2 central midfielders will be Ezequiel Palacios, the Argentine, and the Swiss international of Granit Xhaka, who was brought in for £21.4 million from Arsenal back in July 2023. And 3 up front on the right is going to be one of the biggest talents coming out of Europe. It is the 20-year-old Florian Wirtz. On the left is going to be Amin Adli, and up front through the middle will be Patrick Schick, who was the saviour for Bayer Leverkusen in their last 16 second leg tie here against Karabag. For West Ham, they make just 2 changes from the weekend against Wolves in that dramatic win they picked up in the Premier League. In goal is Lucas Fabianski, the 38-year-old, as Alphonse Areola remains injured. A back 5 themselves at right wing back will be Vladimir Soufal. On the left, making his 75th West Ham appearance, will be Emerson, and 3 centre-halves of Konstantinos Mavropanos, captain Kurt Zouma, and a very experienced 34-year-old Aaron Cresswell. 2 central midfielders of Thomas Souček, who's making appearance number 200 for West Ham. He'll partner alongside James Ward-Prowse. And the 3 up front, similar to Leverkusen. On the right will be Mohamed Kudus. On the left is Lucas Paquetá. And through the middle, looking for his 80th West Ham goal tonight, is the 34-year-old Mikel Antonio. It's just his 2nd start in the competition this season for Antonio, and they've come in the last 2 games now. He started the last 16 second leg against Freiburg. Interesting though for the 2 teams that they've in the last 16 they both played teams that were in their group stage, which I found very interesting. West Ham faced Freiburg, who they finished above in the group stage, and same for Leverkusen, they were in the group stage with Karabag, who they finished above in their group. Now they're in the last 8, coming up against completely new opposition. To a certain extent, these 2 sides did play against each other in pre-season at this stadium, and Leverkusen won by 4 goals to 0. Goals from Hoffmann, an own goal from Chiera. Boniface scored, and so did Andrich as well for Leverkusen, who is on the bench tonight for the home team. And I remember seeing on a podcast that Mikel Antonio was on when he talked about playing the friendly against Leverkusen, and he talked about how good they were even at the start of the season before this amazing run started to take place, where they've gone unbeaten for so long now. It's almost a year without defeat. Their last loss in a competitive match for Leverkusen was on the 27th of May 2023. It was their final league game of the season, where they lost 3-0 away to Bochum. It's been so long, they don't really know what defeat is anymore. Bayer Leverkusen, even though they have fell to it, they have fell close to it on multiple occasions this season, especially that last 16 tie where they almost lost in both games to Karabag, but was able to rescue themselves in both. But they've got a real challenge here of West Ham, who will kick us off, kicking right to left. Leverkusen left to right here at the Bayer Arena, which holds just over 30,000 supporters. West Ham go long down their left flank, can't quite reach. Souček goes beyond the Czech international and out for a goal kick for the home side, as they play out from the back on the edge of their 18-yard box with their captain Jonathan Tah, who's coming up to almost 10 years at the club now. The 6'5" German international. He is featured very recently for Germany. Jonathan Tah, he's played every minute of the last 7 games for Germany. As it is Leverkusen on the ball on the halfway line here with Palacios. Finds Granit Xhaka, who was a big part of Arsenal's title push last season. Of course, didn't quite materialise into them winning the league, but I think some supporters for Arsenal were a bit disappointed he ended up leaving the club in the end, because it seemed that Arteta really found the position for Xhaka, but he moved on to Leverkusen and he's having an unbelievable season for them, as West Ham have set up very defensively here, as Leverkusen have started with possession. They're on this near side here with Frimpong, finds Wirtz, has to go back to Palacios, tries to feed the run through of Frimpong, who had got forward from wing back, but it was intercepted by Cresswell. Drops to the halfway line here for Tah, and it'll be Leverkusen again who will have the ball. It seems like this might be a constant theme in this game of Leverkusen dominating the possession and West Ham trying to hit them on the counter-attack, possibly as Wirtz is tripped there on the near side, and in a right-wing position it's a free kick for Leverkusen, conceded there by James Ward-Prowse, who scored directly from a corner at the weekend to get the winner against Wolves in their 2-1 away win, which saw them come from behind in the second half to score their 2 goals. And it's an early delivery for Leverkusen to put it into the 18-yard box. West Ham's defensive line is just inside the area. It is Florian Wirtz and Alejandro Grimaldo stood over this one on the near side. It'll be an outswinger from the right boot of Wirtz, who crosses it into the far post, where it's a header away on the far post by Soufal, who's clutching the back of his head here. It's not been a free kick that's gone against him, as he won the header and then also was also caught by the man at the far post there for Leverkusen. I believe it was Edmund Tapsoba who was going for the header, and Soufal won it, and he just got the head into the back of his. Not seen as a foul though. Don't think it was, obviously it wasn't on purpose, it was more accidental. It was a good header though, won there by Vladimir Soufal, who's making his 148th West Ham appearance. He still never scored for the club since joining back in October 2020 from Slavia Prague. As there is Xavi Alonso, who is committed another year at the club. He's won 53 of his 78 games in charge, only losing 2 of 16 Europa League games. The first defeat was at home to Monaco back in February 2023, and then they also lost their away leg in the semi-final to Roma. As we're back underway, Soufal back on the pitch. It's Leverkusen to the right wing again here with Frimpong. He can let it off to Wirtz, who goes backwards here to Stanisic. It's now Wirtz again. Inside to Frimpong, just outside the 18-yard box. Finds Wirtz again. Tries to square it towards Palacios, just away from the Argentine, and picked up by Kudus, who can aim it towards Paquetá, who's tripped by Frimpong, and that'll be a free kick for West Ham, and a much-needed one for the Hammers, who have been put under early pressure here in Germany for this first leg, where with the fact they're playing away in the first leg, I think for West Ham they just want damaged limitations. They don't want to be beaten too badly. Of course, if they could go on and win, that would be unbelievable, but I think if they're looking at it realistically, as long as they don't lose by more than 1, it'll be a very positive result to take back to the London Stadium, as Fabianski takes the free kick, chested down by Antonio on the edge of the 18-yard box to Emerson. So West Ham have got it here in the final third. It's touched out of play by Stanisic as he got to the ball ahead of Antonio. And on this near side, it is a West Ham throw-in with Emerson, who's won every single European trophy there is to win. He's won the Conference League, the Europa League and the Champions League. As he just dispossessed there on this near side, and Leverkusen play out from the back here towards the byline, which kept in by Stanisic, drives into the 18-yard box and clears it with his left foot up towards the halfway line, where Schick will chase it, but it'll be cleaned up by Mavropanos, who finds Cresswell, who gets the last touch there off. Well, I thought the last touch came off Frimpong, but according to the officials, it was a final touch off Cresswell, and it is a throw-in for Leverkusen. Just inside the West Ham half. They've lost out there to Emerson, who intercepts with his head. And it's now Cresswell going back into his own 18-yard box here to Lucas Fabianski, who has been the Europa League goalkeeper this season, in fairness. He only missed one, and that was in the group stage away at Olympiacos. And he has played 8 games in the Premier League, 3 off the bench. Alphonse Areola has struggled with injury every now and then this season, and every now and then isn't as now at the moment. Alphonse Areola currently out with an injury. So it means Lucas Fabianski is forced to play. As it's Leverkusen on the far side now with Xhaka bringing it across to the right-hand side and playing a pass to Stanisic, 30 yards from goal, shifts it out to the right once more here to Frimpong. He's got everything to his left here as he runs towards Emerson, plays it back here to Palacios. It's now with Tar, forward to Xhaka, plays it to the left centre-half here of Tapzoba, who's going to look for the pass out wide to the left, and he does find the ball to Grimaldo, who delivers the cross in towards Schick. It's a header won by Zuma, all as far as the Bayer Leverkusen left-hand side, where it's played inside by Adli to Xhaka. Finds Adli again, flicks it to Grimaldo, back inside to Adli, to the edge of the box to Palacios, wants the 1-2 of Adli, but it's intercepted there, headed away all as far as Xhaka, so Leverkusen can come forward again. It's now on the left wing with Wirtz in the area, no real space for a shot, but he can work the pass to the edge of the area to the right to Stanisic, who will let fly. It's flicked towards goal off Schick, and it's saved in the end by Fabianski. A really dominant start by Bayer Leverkusen. Shot came in on the edge of the box by Stanisic, but it ended up being quite a nice cross there for Schick, who just backheeled it towards goal. It was not very well held there by Fabianski, but no one was following in the shot, so he was able to get onto the seconds. And he kicks out of his hands down the West Ham left, looking for Paquetá. Headed out of play there by Stanisic, thrown in the final third here for West Ham on this near side. They'll be taken here by their number 3 of Aaron Cresswell, who actually scored in their last Europa League game in that 5-0 win in the second leg against Freiburg. Not played loads of times this season, Aaron Cresswell. This is just his 4th appearance in this competition, as he is throwing, finds Emerson, finds Cresswell again, then to Emerson towards the byline. He plays a low ball into the box, can't find Paquetá. Dealt with by Xhaka. Schick flicks it backwards there, and the ball forward towards Wirtz has just gone over and out of touch for a throw-in for West Ham. So West Ham throwing it, as they would have expected this start. They would have understood that Leverkusen were going to come here to dominate, especially in their home stadium. As Cresswell throws it down the line, beyond the halfway line, flicked on by Antonio, won't reach Paquetá, dealt with by Jonathan Tah. And it's Leverkusen back in possession on the edge of the 18-yard box with Tapzoba, who can bring it forward here, the Burkina Faso international. Made his debut for his country at the age of 17 and a half. That debut was made back in August 2016. Edmund Tapzoba now at the age of 25. As it's Tar on halfway. Goes to his left here to Tapzoba. He's got Grimaldo furthest left, and he finds the Spaniard. He's been introduced into the Spanish national team with the form that he's provided for Leverkusen this season, Alejandro Grimaldo. Stanisic from right centre-half brings it forward, slips it through for Schick, intercepted by Zuma, headed away by Emerson, controlled by Paquetá, midway side his own half there. He finds Ward-Prowse, who gets away from the challenger Palacios, feeds it to Antonio, takes a heavy touch around Tar, and Antonio will get there. Brilliant move from West Ham. Antonio squares it, Kudus in the box, he strikes it, but it's straight at the goalkeeper of Kovar. What a counter-attack that is. Huge warning sign for Leverkusen. The Hammers showing exactly what they can do to hurt the German side, and it was so well worked. The ball from Ward-Prowse finding Antonio, whose touch in front of him was brilliant. A really heavy touch, but it was one that got him around Jonathan Tah, and he made the right decision to square the ball to Kudus, who probably should have done better in the 18-yard box. His shot was straight at the goalkeeper. As Leverkusen have their turn to attack, it's Adley in the box from the left foot. He gets the ball saved at the far post. Adley's been playing on the left wing, found himself on the right side in the corner of the box. He shifted it onto his left foot and he shot to the far corner. Was saved there quite comfortably by Fabianski, who only could parry it back into play. It's now with the right wing back Frimpong, tackled by Emerson, then taken off him by Paquetá, who will send it down the left hand side again, looking for Antonio, but this time it's dealt with by Jonathan Tah, who heads it into his teammate of Josip Stanisic. And Leverkusen's number 2 is on loan from Bayern Munich, and he scored against Bayern Munich in Leverkusen's win here against them back at the start of February. That's now in the final third. It's Frimpong, formerly of Manchester City, before leaving to join Celtic, where he then moved from Celtic to Leverkusen. As in the box, it's Schick. Lays it off to the right here to Frimpong. Bit of time to find the cross if he wants to. He'll run at Emerson instead. Enters the area. Goes backwards here to Stanisic. It's Palacios, who is dispossessed there eventually. And it's Kudus to bring it forward for West Ham. Sandwiched in between 2 Leverkusen players. And he loses out in the end as he tried to cross the halfway line. That's now out to the far side here. Wirtz with the ball. He's got Souček in front of him. Wirtz finding Xhaka in a more central area. The space out wide to the left. Then he finds Grimaldo. There is Schick in there to aim for, but he plays a ball inside instead towards Adley in the area, who tried to shoot, but he couldn't quite generate the power. And cleared by Kurt Zouma in the end. Good start for both. West Ham's defending pretty resolutely and also having a big opportunity at the other end. And for Leverkusen, they have started brightly with the possession, as you'd probably expect them to do. As in the centre circle, it's with Leverkusen with Jonathan Tah. Everyone behind the ball for West Ham. Now with Granit Xhaka. Plays it forward here to Palacios. He's looking at both sides of the pitch. He'll go to the left there to Wirtz on the edge of the area at the moment. He enters the box, but he's surrounded by white shirts. He plays the ball inside to Adley, who shoots across goal. It's dragged quite far wide in the end. Frimpong was just creeping in at the far post. He almost got to it, but it was just overhit for him. So out it goes for a goal kick. But that's Adley now with a couple of attempts on goal, having one saved just a few minutes ago. Leverkusen's number 21, Moroccan international. Did feature for Morocco at AFCON at the start of this year. But for Leverkusen, they will have a 100% record in the group stage of this competition this season, winning 6 from 6, beating Karabag home and away, and they did the same to Molde and Hacken before refacing Karabag again, where they just about got past them in the last 16. As it's with taps over here for Leverkusen on halfway. Goes to the left wing back of Grimaldo. He's midway inside the West Ham half. He continues to bring it forward. Lays it off for Adley. He goes inside to Xhaka. Back out wide here to Adley. He's got a chance to cross it. He goes for the pass instead to Grimaldo. His flick deflects off Souček to Xhaka. Goes across to the right here to Stanisic. It's now to Frimpong. One-on-one with Emerson in the box. He plays it backwards here, finding Palacios, who finds Xhaka, and again in a central area. Feeds it to the left to Tatzoba. Sends him a bit further out wide than he would have wanted to. But it's been kept in here. And with Xhaka again, 25 yards from goal. Giving time to find his pass, and he plays it to Grimaldo. It's now with Wirtz to Adley. Lifts a ball into the far post, headed down by Emerson to Stanisic. Palacios to Schick. Back to Stanisic again. It's almost like they're toying around with the ball here by Leverkusen, as West Ham can't get a touch to it at the minute, as it's in the box here with Adley squaring it to Grimaldo. Lays it off for Tapzoba. Forward here to Palacios. Now Grimaldo in the box. Out wide left now is Wirtz. Running at Soufal. Squaring it. Palacios finding the shot, which deflects off Ward-Prowse. And it'll be a corner kick for Leverkusen. They are really tidy on the ball, the Xabi Alonso team. So patient, but still so threatening at every point in the game. is Aston Villa in their home leg against Lille, lead in the Conference League. Ollie Watkins, that's 1-0. As Grimaldo takes it short to Wirtz, gets it back to Grimaldo, tries to go to the edge of the box to Xhaka, who was all alone, but is well cut out there by the head of James Ward-Prowse. As Leverkusen still have it midway inside the West Ham half with Xhaka. All West Ham players behind the ball, shows how deep they're sitting at the moment, the Hammers. But it's what they have to do if they want to try and protect this scoreline of 0-0 in the early exchanges. That's Frimpong. Has to go back here to Stanisic. It's now Tatar, who's furthest back here for Leverkusen. He's about 30 yards from goal. Clips it to the left-hand side, headed away by Soufal to keep it away from Wirtz. But only finds Tapzoba, who the centre-half will have a strike from far, blocked by Ward-Prowse, headed forward by Stanisic, headed away by Emerson. And it's a throw-in midway inside the West Ham half here for Leverkusen on this near side. Thrown back towards halfway to Tar. And he allows Palacios to take over. And Palacios was in fact in the Argentina squad for the World Cup in Qatar, where they went on won it, as Tapzoba tries a ball in behind in the box there for Adley. Just overhit there, and it's a goal kick for West Ham. You probably won't enjoy a lot of the ball in this game, but they've got to really concentrate. But David Moyes has faced Leverkusen twice previously in his managerial career, winning both of them when he was at Manchester United in the Champions League group stage. I think the referee is just going to have a word here with Lucas Fabianski, who's taken just a little bit too long with his goal kicks, the 38-year-old. But yeah, for David Moyes, the two wins, one at Old Trafford in September 2013 where they won 4-2, and then he won here 5-0 in the November. Sami Hyypiä was the man in charge for Leverkusen back then. As West Ham can't quite find the ball to Antonio up front, goes through to the Leverkusen goalkeeper, and it's now brought forward here to Granit Xhaka in the centre circle. Crosses the halfway line, plays it out to the left here to Grimaldo. It's now with Adley. Goes backwards here to Palacios. Again, West Ham, everyone behind the ball. It's really resolute, their defensive play. And like I say, their concentration has to be perfect. They can't let any gaps appear or they will be exploited. It's Tar. Has the ball here, the captain. Playing it out to the right to Frimpong. In the final third again. Crossing it this time towards Schick, who has the header towards goal and just a couple of yards wide. Got up well there, Patrick Schick, to beat Konstantinos Mavropanos to the header. And the West Ham centre-half of Mavropanos has got plenty of experience against Leverkusen. Losing twice here, away from home with Stuttgart, 5-2 and 4-2. So conceding a lot of goals. Doesn't have great memories playing at this ground. The Greek international centre-half. As already, Leverkusen have won the ball back. It's in the centre circle here with Wirtz. Allowed to turn forward and plays it to the left here to Palacios. Grimaldo's furthest left and they find him. Grimaldo playing it through to Adley, who's made a run into the... can't talk. He's made a run down the line. His ball goes across goal. Can't be met by Frimpong. He will have to chase it back down. And he keeps it for Leverkusen. Plays it back here to Stanisic. He's been closed down by Paquetá. So he's been forced to go back there to Tar. Good play there by Grimaldo to find Adley in behind. His ball across was really good. Just no one on the end of it for Leverkusen. No one committing to the cross. As a ball into the midfield. Loses out Palacios. And he trips Antonio. And that'll be a free kick for West Ham. Midway inside their own half. For the first time in the game, and we've almost hit the 20th minute, it was a loose pass from Leverkusen. Antonio picked it up. Tripped and wins his team a free kick. Mavropanos lifts it down the right-hand side. It can't be controlled by Soufal. Down the line, the ball goes. It's won by Grimaldo. Back to the goalkeeper of Kovar, who goes forward to Tar. Getting the pass away from Antonio. And Leverkusen now can bring the ball forward. With Florian Wirtz, the 20-year-old wonder kid, who can bring the ball forward down the right-hand side. Goes inside to Schick. Backheels it into Palacios. Space out wide to the left, and he finds Grimaldo. 20 yards out, edge of the box. He will let fly for Leverkusen. Brilliant save from Fabianski Tips it behind for a corner. He's been well in the goals this season, Grimaldo. He's got 9 in the Bundesliga. He's got 11 in all competitions, including a brace against Karabag in this competition in the group stage. He let fly, went to the far corner. Strong left hand there by Fabianski. And it's been a really good Leverkusen start. Xavi Alonso, the 42-year-old, more than happy with what he's seen so far. As the man who won the corner through his shot will take it. Of Grimaldo, left-footed in-swinger, deeper one to the far post, headed down here for Stanisic, who can't quite direct it towards goal. Forced to Tar in the area, tackled by Kudus, who can shrug off one Leverkusen player, and he lays it off for Paquetá, who can get away from Palacios. He needs to release it here, Paquetá. Still got it, and eventually losing out to Palacios as Adli takes over on the right wing. He keeps it in, tackled by Paquetá, and it's a free kick for Leverkusen. It's all boiling over here. Paquetá booked. Just seems all a little bit unnecessary. It was just a few heated challenges and it was all getting a little bit messy. Paquetá tackled by Adli, and then Paquetá went back in on Adli to almost maybe avenge the previous tackle. Paquetá went in, kicked through him actually. That's naughty that from Paquetá. I didn't see it. I thought the original leaning from Paquetá wasn't worthy of the yellow card, but he's gone to kick through. Adli, who's had a good start to the game, the Moroccan. And it's a rightly given yellow card to the Brazilian of Lucas Paquetá, who they can't be losing in this game. They can't have him sent off, and they will miss him for the next. Lucas Paquetá is suspended for the second leg at the London Stadium. That is a huge miss for West Ham. Lucas Paquetá will miss the second leg due to a yellow card suspension. And the fact that he was on a yellow card already to miss the second leg, that is beyond stupid from Paquetá. That really is just... It doesn't make sense why he's done that, when he probably would have known that he was on a yellow card going into this game. As from the free kick, Wirtz crosses it in, headed on for Leverkusen by Schick. Nowhere near goal in the end. Goal kick for West Ham. It seems like it's all settled down now. But Lucas Paquetá picking up the deserved yellow card there. Kicking through Adli. David Moyes, I think, trying to argue the case of his own player, but it's definitely a yellow card for me. West Ham go long from the goal kick. Kudus can't win it. Put back forward by Mavropanos, where Kudus flicks it inside here towards Paquetá, and he gets it ahead of Stanisic, slips it through towards Kudus. It can't quite reach him on the edge of the box. Cleared by Tapsoba. All as far as Cresswell. And Emerson then loses it to Wirtz, who's then tackled by Paquetá. Needs to be careful. He's just been booked, the Brazilian. He's probably on his last warning. A 26-year-old. He just caught Florian Wirtz. Just had his feet too quick for the Brazilian. Just trod on the top of his toe there, Paquetá. 100% just needs to be careful. Just being booked. And one more challenge like that, and he'll probably be off the pitch. He's already suspended for the next leg. And they don't want him gone from this game completely as well. Back underway. Wirtz back to his feet here. As Leverkusen have it just inside their own half here with Jonathan Tah, the captain, making his 41st appearance in the competition. Jonathan Tah, he's never scored in it. As Leverkusen try and play it into the box to Wirtz, cut out there by Cresswell. And it's a throw in for Leverkusen on this near side in the final third. Frimpong takes quickly, gets the return ball from Wirtz, goes across to the left here to Xhaka, who puts it to the far post for Grimaldo, who won't reach it ahead of the header from Soufal. And it's now with Kudus. On the far side, he's then been tripped and caught late there by Patrick Schick, the striker. And it'll be a free kick for West Ham. No card given to the Czech Republic striker, who scored 5 in the European Championship back in the 2021 tournament. Delayed a year, of course, due to the COVID pandemic. As West Ham are on the ball, with Cresswell bringing it forward down the left-hand side into the final third. Ward-Prowse goes back to Paquetá. It's now with Emerson. Got a couple of players in the box here if they can work it into the danger area for West Ham, but Cresswell dispossessed there by Frimpong. Stanisic with the ball across. That's a wayward pass. Can't find Adley. Giving away to Kudus, and West Ham back on the ball in the Leverkusen half. They're being forced backwards here, though, by the Leverkusen press. Soufal tries to clear it long. It comes off Adley. It's a throw in for West Ham. They've barely been in the Leverkusen half all game, so a bit of a change of scenery for the West Ham players. As from the throw-in, it couldn't be kept in there by Soufal. And it's Leverkusen back on the ball. See the possession stats at the moment in this one. It's on the halfway line with Jonathan Tah. Yep, 86% possession for Bayer Leverkusen in the opening 26 minutes. West Ham have had 14% of the ball. That is crazy. There's Kudus. Can't quite take it off Grimaldo. Worked away from him. It's now with Palacios. Goes to Granit Xhaka in the central midfield position. To his right to Palacios. On the near side, it's with Frimpong. He's going to drive inside. And he plays it into Palacios. Wants to play the pass as quickly as possible. 1-2 with Wirtz. The pass is short back to Palacios. One back by Kudus, who's tackled by Palacios. It's now with Wirtz to Palacios again. To his left to Grimaldo. Edge of the box. He's going to go for another shot, which is blocked this time by Mavropanos. And West Ham can break with Kudus. Receiving the ball here from Paquetá. Kudus bringing it forward into the Leverkusen half. Playing it backwards here into Ward-Prowse. It's now with Paquetá to the far side to Soufal. Forward from wing back. It's now Paquetá. Keeps the ball away there from Xhaka. And it's now with Cresswell. Finding Emerson. Back to Cresswell. He's about 10 yards in front of the halfway line. Cresswell again. Goes across to Mavropanos. Not got loads of options. Finds the captain, Kurt Zuma. Cresswell. Down the line to Paquetá. Touches it out of play. Can't quite find Emerson on this near side. And it's a throw for Leverkusen, thrown backwards by Frimpong to Stanisic. And it's the home team back on the ball. Bit of a waste there from West Ham, who enjoyed their first little spell of the ball. And it only lasted about a minute, but it's the most time they've had on the ball all game, really. As they set up in their defensive shape again here, West Ham. As Leverkusen work it to the right wing to Frimpong. Running at Emerson, playing it to his left to Wirtz. Back through for Frimpong in the box, towards the byline. Can low cross the ball in. Dealt with by West Ham. Came off Zuma, then cleared by Cresswell. And out of play for a Leverkusen throw-in. It's with Palacios in the Leverkusen midfield. Xhaka keeping the ball away from Antonio and feeding it through to Adley, who again has found himself on this right wing for Leverkusen. Wirtz to Frimpong in the box, tackled by Emerson. Loose ball drops to Palacios, lifted forward by Wirtz. Brought down eventually by Frimpong. Adley to Wirtz on the edge of the area, tackled strongly by Kudus, but drops back to Wirtz, who can enter the box himself. And can he get away from the sheer bodies that West Ham have got in the area? No, he can't. Eventually it's poked away by Ward-Prowse, but again, can't make it stick up front. West Ham, one back by Jonathan Tah, and it's to their goalkeeper in the end of Mate Kovar. Brought in the summer for £7.7 million from Manchester United. Never made a senior appearance for the Red Devils, despite being at the club since January 2018 to August 2023. As Schick, fed in the box, strikes it, and it is saved by Fabianski again, I believe. through patience, Leverkusen are starting to create a couple of openings. It was a really nice pass there from Xhaka to feed it down the left side of the box to Schick. And that was going in the bottom right corner. Really well tipped behind by Fabianski, who's made a couple of saves already in this game. That's from the corner. It's to the edge of the box to Xhaka. Goes to the right to Palacios. Now Grimaldo on the angle, on the right-hand side. Clips it to the far post here towards Jonathan Tah, who loses out to Vladimir Soufal. Both can't win the header. And it rolls out for a West Ham goal kick. Goal kick for West Ham. Flicked on by Souček. Antonio chases it down the right-hand side, but he can't quite keep the ball in. And it's Leverkusen throwing in their own defensive third. And they throw it quickly here into the number 34 of Granit Xhaka, who spent 4 years in Germany at his previous club before Arsenal with Gladbach. Now back in the country with Leverkusen, where they are on track to win the Bundesliga. If they win their home game against Werder Bremen at the weekend, then they are champions for the first time ever. There's the ball into the box towards Adli. Can't quite take it under control, and it rolls through in the end to Lucas Fabianski. As Leverkusen were asking the question of a handball there on Soufal as the pass was played towards Adli, but the referee, Artur Diaz, was unmoved. 44-year-old, the referee, Portuguese, Artur Diaz, refereed the international friendly between England and Brazil in the March international break. As West Ham go forward towards, I don't know who Mavropanos is aiming for on halfway. No one was near the ball. Easy collection for Xhaka. Wirtz to Schick, and as Wirtz released the ball, he was just knocked to the ground by Mavropanos, so the free kick will be given here to Leverkusen. Well worked there by Florian Wirtz, who scored his first Germany goal in the international break for the senior national side against France. I think he scored it very quickly. Did come off the hand of Soufal there as the ball was played towards Adli, but Soufal's arms were in a very natural position. They were just by his side. They weren't outstretched or anything, so it would have been a very harsh penalty to give against Vladimir Soufal as the ball was kicked about 2 yards away from him, so he didn't necessarily have time to put his arms behind his back. As Leverkusen take the free kick short. Xhaka out to the left it goes now to Adli. Isolated with Soufal, but he goes back here to Grimaldo. Now across to the right to Xhaka. Forward to Palacios, about 35 yards from goal. Feeds it to the left-hand side again now to Wirtz. Into the path of Adli, who will cross it into the near post. It's dealt with by Zuma. Clears it straight back to Adli, though. He just put that cross in, so he might have a second try at it. He's played it into Wirtz. Tackled well by Antonio. It's now Kudus in the right-back position for West Ham. Goes backwards towards the byline to Soufal, who keeps it in. And clears it down the West Ham right. But straight to Xhaka, unopposed with the ball. And Palacios there, late tackle on him by Ward-Prowse. And it's a free kick for Leverkusen on the far side. Definitely not a yellow card, that. Just a cheeky little trip there by Ward-Prowse, who, in fairness, was going for the ball. West Ham's number 7. It's now on the near side with Frimpong. Goes to the left here to Xhaka. Runs being made to the far post. He doesn't look for them. He just plays it across to the left to Palacios. Xhaka to Stanisic, the right centre-back. Into Xhaka again. Across to the left it goes here to Tapsoba. Finds Xhaka. All West Ham players behind the ball. It is ridiculous how deep they're sitting, but if that's the way you've got to stop Leverkusen, then that's the way you've got to play. It's Tapsoba, 25 yards out. He's going to strike from afar, and it was aiming towards the bottom left corner, but it was quite comfortably saved in the end by Fabianski, who got down quickly. The 38-year-old turns 39 in the for the second leg. Fabianski, birthday next Thursday. Now Soufal on halfway on the far side. Keeps it for West Ham, finding Ward-Prowse in the West Ham half. Finding Paquetá, then back to Ward-Prowse, who's got Bit of time on the ball here. Finds Mavropanos. Back to Fabianski in the 18-yard box. Mavropanos. Back to Fabianski. He's played by Munich 3 times previously in his career, Fabianski. Never losing away from home, which is rather impressive, whilst at Arsenal. Ball long towards Antonio. Reaches Souček in the end and he just kicks up the field. Very wasted, frustrated. Paquetá, that pass, Thomas Souček. It was just such a hurried, looked like a panicked pass there by Souček. Trying to rush it, where West Ham can't be rushing it when they get the ball. Because they're not going to have it a lot, so when they do, they need to use it preciously. Can't just be giving it away that easily. Got to make Leverkusen work for the ball again. As it is the home side to come forward here. It's out to the far side here to Adley. Brings it forward. He's got space to run into as well. Chops it into Grimaldo, who keeps it away from Kudus. It's now with Palacios. Finds Xhaka. Ball through to Adley. Can't find Wirtz. Cut out there by Souček. Soufal needs to clear in a right back position. Eventually it gets gone. Up towards Antonio, who's so isolated. He flicks it over the head of Tapsoba. And Antonio can keep it away from Xhaka. Antonio's still going. What a run. This is Paquetá through to his left. Antonio goes on his own in the box. He squares it towards Paquetá eventually. And it's dealt with by Stanisic. But how Mikel Antonio has made something work out of that is ridiculous. He received it on the halfway line, on the far side, on his own. Flicked over the head of Tapsoba. Out-muscled Xhaka. Then got around Tapsoba again. He ran at Jonathan Tah. Heavy touch around him once again. And as he looked to square it towards Paquetá in the 6-yard box, it was cleared by Stanisic. It was the right decision, though, by Mikel Antonio because his angle was tight. So I think the shot would have been a difficult one to convert. So he went for the ball across instead. He couldn't quite find Paquetá, but that is really positive for West Ham. There's a long throw into the box here by Soufal. Headed on by Tapsoba, still in the 18-yard box. And he forward by Mavropanos. It's dealt with by Stanisic as he chests it back to his goalkeeper of Kovac. But it does seem when West Ham can get forward, they do look like scoring. I mean, they've only been in the Leverkusen half attacking twice, and they've had 2 pretty good chances from it. It's definitely areas where Leverkusen just need to be careful. As they've won the ball back here, West Ham. Ward-Prowse on halfway, winning it against Grimaldo. It's now with Cresswell at left centre-half. He goes forward to Paquetá, relays it into Cresswell. He wants to go forward, but he's tackled by Frimpong. Deflected ball drops to Ward-Prowse, who quickly sweeps it out to the right-hand side to Soufal. He will bring the ball forward here for West Ham. About 25 yards from goal. Finds Kudus. Everything to his left for West Ham. Onto his left foot. He delivers the cross in. Good ball as well. And it's headed behind by Stanisic. And I believe West Ham will have a corner hit. Really positive last few minutes here for the Hammers. It's Kudus. Allowed to get onto his left foot. A bit too easily there by Grimaldo. And it was too easy for him to put the cross in. And he aimed to the far post where Emerson wanted to win the header. But it was well dealt with by Josip Stanisic in the end, the Croatian. So West Ham have a set piece. Ward-Prowse directly scored from one at the weekend. Ward-Prowse has dried up a little bit in terms of assists. Just the 1 assist in the last 13 Premier League games for him. But that doesn't mean he can't provide one now. There's a delay to the taking. The referee just wanting a word of some of the players in the 18-yard box. The referee wants another word here with Edmund Tapsoba and Kurt Zouma. Just delaying the restart to the game. Of course, that is someone who West Ham will more than likely be aiming for in the box, Kurt Zouma, who's not scored so far this season in the Europa League. As Ward-Prowse delivers it in, up towards the goalkeeper, where he does get a good punch away to the edge of the box, but there was a foul in there, I think, on the goalkeeper possibly. Kurt Zouma asking the question of what the free kick's been given for. We'll have a look at this replay. Ball goes in. It's not a foul for me. I think it's given against Zouma. He was pulling the centre-half of Tabzoba, but they were both having a good grapple at each other. I feel like that's a bit of a soft free kick, that is. Leverkusen come forward in the final third. Grimaldo goes back to Adley. Is Liverpool trail at home to Atalanta just before the break. Xhaka crosses here, and it's kneed back towards goal by Emerson. And it just goes wide for a corner, almost into the top left corner for a goal there. Unorthodox defending there by Emerson, as the cross went into the far post from Xhaka. Went over the head of Cresswell, and Emerson saw it late, just threw his knee to it, and it deflected back towards goal, and that's seriously not far away from going in the back of the net. As from the resulting corner, Grimaldo crosses a header won there by Palacios. And the header goes over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. The corner went into Adley, who won the header but couldn't direct it on target. Beat Mavropanos to the header, which is quite impressive there by Amin Adley. As in the other Europa League ties, we've got Liverpool trailing by a goal to nil at home to Atalanta. Benfica are 1-0 up at home to Marseille. Goal from Rafa, who got the winner against Rangers in the previous round. And AC Milan at home are losing 1-0 to Gianluca Mancini in that all-Italian tie. So Roma lead, currently on a good run under their interim boss of Daniele De Rossi. It's Leverkusen in the centre circle, finds Wirtz, feeds it into the space to the right of him to Stanisic, brings it forward from centre-back, lays it off to Frimpong, who plays it back to Stanisic, across once more to the left here to Palacios. Now with Xhaka, to the far side now, to Adley, down the line to Grimaldo, pass is pretty heavy, not quite accurate enough, and out for a goal kick, hopefully you can hear me there, out for a goal kick. Soufal was able to see the ball behind. But for me, West Ham have definitely got to take positives from this. I know they've not done a lot going forward, but they've really stopped Leverkusen getting the ball in the back of the net, and that's the main thing in this first leg, is West Ham give it away. Paquetá losing it pretty cheaply. It's now with Schick on the edge of the box. He's got Ward-Prowse trying to stop him from playing it out to the right. He can't do so. It's now with Frimpong. His ball deflects in towards Schick. But he goes back to Frimpong. Instead, he shoots with his left foot, and it deflects off a Leverkusen player. He's gone for a corner. Must have come off a West Ham player. I think I need my eyes testing there. Frimpong with the left-footed shot in the box. Deflected well wide in the end. Leverkusen have took it quickly. Stanisic, into the box it goes to Palacios. Squares it for Tabzoba, who went for the first-time shot. And it's deflected behind by Mavropanos. But, of course, he's not a striker there. It's the centre-back Tabzoba, but he had time to touch that one and then shoot, instead of rushing the first-time shot, which was going wide, but Mavropanos wasn't to know, so he just touched it behind himself for another corner. Coming towards the end of the first half here, 2.5 minutes to play the first 45 of this first leg as Grimaldo crosses. It's an awful cross. That is awful. I think it went out of play and then almost bent back in. It's going to be a goal kick. Real waste there by Alejandro Grimaldo, who came through at Barcelona for 8 years before leaving for Benfica, where he made over 300 appearances for the Portuguese side. Now at the age of 28. Joined Leverkusen in the summer on a free. Fabianski goes long, up towards Paquetá, loses the header to Xhaka. It's in behind Vishik, who will chase it. Just kicked out of play though by Zuma, taking no chances there. The French centre-half. As it's Leverkusen on the ball in the midfield here with Palacios. Not got many options out to his left. They're all towards the right side where he goes forward to Wirtz. It's now with Schick. Back to Wirtz on the edge of the area. It's now with Xhaka, 25 yards from play. Ward-Prowse putting in the tackle, but Xhaka can keep it, going backwards to Stanisic. Now to the left centre half of Tabzoba, who brings the ball forward and lays it off to the left wing back here of Grimaldo, who can cross it if he wants to. He will cross it, and it's a good header won on the penalty spot by Zuma. All as far as Stanisic, who brings it down, and Palacios takes over and he shoots, and it comes off his own player there of Adley, who is in an offside position in the 18-yard box. And it's a free kick for West Ham. Seeing the Atalanta goal here against Liverpool. Zappacosta putting the ball in, and Scamacca getting it underneath Kelleher. Poor goalkeeping. Should have saved it, went under the Irishman. And it's a pretty cheap goal for Liverpool to concede, really. As again, West Ham go long. Header I can't talk. Souček loses the header to tap Zoba, but the Burkina Faso centre-half could only head it out for a throw-in for West Ham. Midway side the Leverkusen half. On the far side with Soufal. Throws it across the pitch for Paquetá, who heads it onto Antonio in the area, who's sandwiched by two Leverkusen centre-halves, and the ball is seen through to the goalkeeper of Mate Kovar, who won the league on loan with Sparta Prague last season, and he made his Czech Republic debut in March against Armenia. Now at the age of 23, Kovar. As Leverkusen attack down the left-hand side. Wirtz, misplaced ball to Souček, who plays it forward to Kudus. Still inside his own half. Kudus onto his left foot. 1 minute added on here. It's Ward-Prowse in the centre circle. Can't keep it away from Adley. It's now with Wirtz to the right to Stanisic, who keeps it away from Emerson. And it'll be kept in here by Frimpong. And it's now with Leverkusen again. With Xhaka into the centre circle with Palacios. Brings the ball forward 5 yards and plays it to his right to Adley. Lays it off to Xhaka. Stanisic now comes forward from centre half. Time on the ball for him. Goes back to his left to Xhaka. Waiting for the right run here as he crosses it into the box towards Grimaldo. Headed away by Soufal. Chested down by Kudus, who plays it to the left to Paquetá. Needs to clear it. He's on the edge of his own box here. Turns away from Stanisic and slips it through for Ward-Prowse. He then plays it out to the right to Soufal. He finds Paquetá. West Ham just killing the clock here to try and get in at half-time. All square at 0-0. Paquetá on the halfway line has it. And that is where the referee will blow for half-time here at the Bay Arena. It is Leverkusen 0, West Ham 0. Leverkusen have had all the ball. They've had 77% possession, 18 shots, 5 on target, forcing some good saves from Fabianski, Adley, one of them. Also Schick coming close, drilling a ball towards the bottom right corner. But Fabianski's been equal to all the main shots on goal. And for West Ham, they've gone forward twice and they've come close twice, both through Mikel Antonio early on in the first half. He burst down the left-hand side away from Jonathan Tah and he squared it to Kudus in the box, who should have done a lot better. He hit it straight at the goalkeeper. That was a huge chance for West Ham, and they also had another opportunity through Antonio a bit later on into the first half, where Antonio received the ball all on his own on the halfway line. He flicked it over the header tap Zoba and charged forward after shrugging off the challenger Xhaka. Took another heavy touch around Jonathan Tah, squared it across towards Paquetá in the 6-yard box, but it was cut out ahead of him by Stanisic. That was also a decent opportunity. So Leverkusen have dominated. They've had plenty of opportunities. West Ham have had very little chances, but when they've had the chances, they've come very close. And they have defended well. And here at half-time at the Bay Arena, it is Leverkusen 0, West Ham 0 in the first leg of this quarter-final tie. I'm going to go for half-time. I'm going to go 15 minutes, get a drink, have something to eat, and I'll be back in 15 minutes. So make sure you return, as at the moment here at half-time at the Bay Arena, it is Leverkusen 0, West Ham 0. Hello, and we are back. Well, time is still going, never stopped it. We are back as the second half of this first leg, the quarter final between Leverkusen and West Ham is all square at 0-0. Leverkusen have been dominant, and their style of play is persistence at pace. You know, they're patient, but oh God, they knock it about so quickly. They never stop. Can you remove live? I no idea what you're talking about. Remove what? Live commentary from where? I don't know what you mean. I do apologise. I don't know what what you mean. But the second half here will be getting underway in a couple of minutes' time. Like I said, Leverkusen just on top, but West Ham have had two openings in the Leverkusen 18-yard box, and it wasn't too far off, especially that earlier chance with Kudus, who shot in the 18-yard box straight at the goalkeeper of Mate Kovar. If he puts that in the corner, it's more than likely a goal. Really big chance for West Ham, and Leverkusen have just been non-stop at the West Ham goal, but in fairness, the 38-year-old of Lucas Fabianski, he's been solid in net. He's made a couple of really good saves. Nothing really major, but he's had to dive for a couple, tip some shots behind. So it's been a game where we definitely could have had goals for both sides, but it's still 0-0 at the moment. It's on the starting screen of every video since a few months ago. Live commentary. What's the problem with that being on the starting screen? Is there a problem? It is a live commentary. I don't know what you want from me. As around the other grounds, Liverpool are trailing at half time, 1-0 to Atalanta, former West Ham striker of Scamacca with the goal, and Liverpool, and in terms of other English opposition, Aston Villa lead 1-0 at home to Lille in the Conference League quarter-final there, and in the Europa League as well, AC Milan are trailing at home to Roma in that all-Italian tie. As also big news out of this game is that Lucas Paquetá received a yellow card in the first half. That means he will miss the second leg, suspended with a yellow card suspension. So a huge miss for West Ham. They're already without Jared Bowen tonight and Edson Alvarez, two players that I think would have been really good for West Ham tonight. As at the minute, this Leverkusen side are aiming for a treble. It is definitely on for them. They are in the cup final already. Leverkusen. As they play Kaiserslautern in the final. They are one win away from the Bundesliga title, and they are currently in the quarter-final stages of the Europa League, but they've come up against a really resolute West Ham team who have been able to have kept a clean sheet in that first half. As the second half will be getting underway in literally a couple of seconds' time. It'll be Leverkusen to kick off, kicking right to left. West Ham left to right. It'll be Patrick Schick to kick us off. Quite quiet in that first half, the main striker for Leverkusen. He's got 5 and 5 in the Europa League. All of the 5 goals coming in the last 4 games, including 3 that he scored within the 2 legs in the last 16 against Karabakh. It's Leverkusen to get us underway here in the second half at the Bayer Arena, opened in 1958. Like I say, just holds over 30,000. As it is Leverkusen to keep the ball from kick-off. You know, you you usually see teams just boot the ball from kick-off, push up the pitch, try and squeeze up the field. But Leverkusen have opted to just keep possession here. It's with Xhaka in front of the halfway line. He's looking out wide right and finds Wirtz, who's allowed to turn forward. He's got support either side of him. He finds Adli, who goes back inside to Xhaka. And then to Palacios. Forward to Wirtz, lays it off for Xhaka, about 25 yards going from goal. Goes to the right wing to Adli, on his left foot. Finds Palacios, back out wide now to Wirtz, who will deliver the cross in. Bounces off Emerson, deflects to Xhaka, who gets it back forward to Wirtz. Now Palacios to Xhaka. Back out to the right here to Wirtz, who's one-on-one here with Emerson. Wirtz goes to the edge of the box to Palacios. Back to goal, so finds the ball to Xhaka. He's been chased down here by Ward-Prowse. Kills it out to the left here to Tapsoba, who can keep it away from Kudus for now when he gets around him. Brilliant skill here from Tapsoba. That is superb to keep the ball away from the Ghanaian. And it's Leverkusen who have kept the ball here for the opening minute and a half of this second half here. West Ham haven't had a touch. As Leverkusen, once again, like they were for the majority of the second half, for the majority of the first half, sorry, they were camped in the West Ham half. And that's exactly what they are doing again here. This is with Xhaka, midway inside the West Ham half. Goes out to the left flank to Wirtz. He's been caught out by Soufal, who can only kick it out for a Leverkusen throw-in. Before Granit Xhaka, brilliant record he's got against West Ham. He's played against them 14 times previously, just losing the once. And that was away from home in the 18-19 season. He's never scored against them, though, but very rarely loses against the Hammers. As Wirtz plays it to the right here, goes behind Schick in the box, so it can be cleaned up here by Emerson, who clears it down the left-hand side into Paquetá, who is tackled by Stanisic, and that'll be a throw-in for West Ham in their own half on the far side. Stanisic making sure Paquetá went no further into the Leverkusen half. And as in terms of away form in the league for West Ham, they've got 2 wins in their last 6 away. Winning in their last one against Wolves, and then the one before that was at the start of February against Everton. As Schick has it for Leverkusen. Out to the right wing to Frimpong. In the box. Low delivery in. Stopped by Ward-Prowse. Cleared forward by Emerson towards Paquetá. He shields the ball away from Palacios. But then loses out to Frimpong, who then overhits the touch. Tackled by Ward-Prowse. Cleared down the left by Emerson. Out of touch for a Leverkusen throw-in, which they take quickly. It's all done so quick by Leverkusen. It's hard to keep up with. Everything is just done rapidly, and that is why teams struggle so much. It's because to keep the concentration coming up against such fluid and rapid football, it is difficult. Wirtz does get away again there to Emerson, who can bring it forward for West Ham in a left wing-back position. On the halfway line, he tries to play ball to his right to Antonio. It's intercepted by Xhaka. And it's back now with the home side, with Granit Xhaka on the ball, going out to the right to Frimpong, who's got space to run into here. He plays it into the space instead to Wirtz, who pulls it across the Schick. It can't quite reach him. Touched back to the goalkeeper by Souček. Not a pass, just and a leg out, and it deflected back to Fabianski. Leverkusen have just started exactly how they were in the first half. It's Soufal on this near side, lays it off to Kudus, just in front of the halfway line. Kicks the ball off Schick. And that'll be a throw in here for West Ham United with Vladimir Soufal, who has scored twice in this competition in 34 previous appearances. Both, I think, for Slavia Prague. As he throws it long here towards Antonio, who does touch it out to the right wing. It can't reach Kudus, but the foul, in fact, has gone against Antonio. Just having a holding battle there with Jonathan Tah. Antonio a little bit confused, but obviously grappling a bit too much with the Leverkusen captain. It's now with the home team, with Xhaka on halfway. Goes to his right 5 yards to Stanisic. Forward to Wirtz. First time pass to the right here to Adli, who can bring the ball forward. Goes back inside to Wirtz. Then to the right to Adli again. We know he wants it on his left foot. He does square it to Wirtz, then through to Frimpong, who puts it across the box, but no one's there to attack it for Leverkusen. Easily dealt with in the end there by Soufal. Cleared straight to Tapsoba, who goes back towards his goalkeeper here of Kovar. Tar will have to get there first as Antonio was chasing it down, and eventually it does reach the goalkeeper of Kovar, who Immediately plays it forward here to Granit Xhaka, who's now in the centre circle with the ball. Gives it to his central midfield partner of Palacios. Forward to Wirtz, in between the lines, it's brilliant. Tries to slip it through for Adli. Comes off Zuma, poked away by Mavropanos. Out to Kudus, who loses out there to Palacios. Kudus wins it back in a right-back position, and he needs to clear it, and he's just kicks it straight across the pitch. It's not really gone away for West Ham, and it eventually does with the header forward by Emerson on Frimpong, and it's now Paquetá bringing away. Holding up the ball, going inside toward Prowse, who finds Emerson. It's now with Paquetá into Souček, who gets it to Emerson. Back to Paquetá. And West Ham having their first bit of possession of the second half. It's on this near side with the number 15 of Mavropanos. Moving it back here to Zuma. Champions League winner with Chelsea in 2021. Won the Conference League last year, so he's just this trophy away from winning all three major European trophies. It's West Ham still knocking it around. They've gone back to Fabianski in the 18-yard box here. Spent 7 years at Arsenal. Fabianski winning an FA Cup. As he clips out to the left to Paquetá. Controls it ahead of Stanisic. And the centre-half's gone down holding his face. Referee's not stopping play here. Leverkusen have almost stopped there, and eventually the whistle is blown. Looks like he's holding his right eye here, Stanisic, and hopefully the replays don't put this against Paquetá. Yeah, just an accidental arm. You know, you've got to use your arms as leverage to try and, you know, shield yourself away from a defender, and unfortunately his arm's just gone up into the face of Stanisic. He seems okay. He's not holding a grudge about it on Paquetá. We'll just get back underway. Remember, Paquetá is on a yellow card here, so he does need to be careful. As we're back underway on the far side, halfway line, Emerson forward to Paquetá, flicks it back through for Emerson, who tackles it towards Souček, who can slip it through to Antonio, who will chase it down the left-hand side. Tar will get there. He'll play it to the right centre-half of Stanisic in the defensive third for Leverkusen. Hesitates clearing it, but plays a pass inside to Xhaka instead. That's really good work there from the Bayern Munich loanee. And it can now be played to the left-hand side here for Tapsoba, who strides forward with the ball from centre-half. Now into the final third. Lays it off for Grimaldo to his left. Grimaldo with the ball. Being made to go backwards to Xhaka. Across to Palacios. So now with Xhaka again. Forward to Wirtz. Feeds it to the left wing again to Grimaldo, who will eventually cross it. Straight off Soufal. Corner for Leverkusen. The only thing that Leverkusen can't allow to happen is for the frustration to get the better, because it is slightly frustrating for them at the moment, not getting a lot of luck as from the corner they've worked it to Xhaka. Back through for Grimaldo on the byline, touches it down for Wirtz, who onto his right foot tries to get it back to his left, but that's where he's tackled by Soufal. Clears it to Kudus, who kicks the ball off Adli, and it'll be a throw for West Ham in a right back position. There's David Moyes giving out some instructions here. Taking charge of his 254th game in charge of West Ham, losing 91, winning 111, 51 draws. Second spell at the club he's been at, West Ham, during his second spell since December 2019 now. There's been a lot of questions over him in terms of his leadership of the team and if he's the one to really take them to that next level, but I don't really know where West Ham want themselves to go. You know, they're at a very high level already. Don't think they shouldn't be too greedy of where they want to go here, because David Moyes has been working wonders at West Ham. As on the edge of the Leverkusen box, Tar volleys it into the air, then misses the header for the second attempt, and eventually heads it down towards Kudus, where it's taken off him by Grimaldo. Clears it forward for Leverkusen, only as far as Ward-Prowse, who can only head it as far as Grimaldo, whose ball forward to Wirtz, can't reach him. Dealt with by Mavropanos, who's tripped over on halfway. And it's a free kick for West Ham. 10 minutes into the second half now. We're still level at 0-0. This would be a brilliant result for David Moyes' men if they can see this through and take it all level to the London Stadium. from the free kick. Diagonally switched out to the left by Mavropanos to Antonio. Thighs it down here for Emerson. Heads it backwards to Cresswell. Played backwards once more toward Prowse. Bit of a short pass, but he reaches it ahead of Adley. Kicked away, but only as far as Frimpong, who can't find Adley, who's on the floor. And eventually, it's a free kick for Leverkusen, and it's a yellow card for Emerson. Just before the halfway line on the right-hand side, Adley was fouled again. And he stayed down here. Emerson had the ball. Adley took it off him on the ground. Then Emerson went over the ball and onto the shin of Adley. I mean, it's accidental. He doesn't mean Emerson. It just goes over the ball, but it does catch. It does catch Adley pretty badly. So it's an Emerson booking. He won't miss the second leg despite being yellow. Oh, he will. Oh, no. This is getting from bad to worse for West Ham. They're going to have no team for the second leg. Paquetá and Emerson both suspended for the second leg after picking up yellow cards tonight. Still be without the two Brazilians on that left-hand side. Sorry, Emerson was Brazilian. He was born in Brazil, but he represents Italy. Paquetá is, of course, part of the Brazilian national team. It's now with Emerson to Paquetá in the West Ham half. They need to try and work this away. Tackle by Frimpong, though. It's Leverkusen to attack in the West Ham half here with Xhaka. Goes to his left to Palacios. It's to Xhaka. Out to the right-hand side here to Adley in the final third. One-on-one with Emerson. Allowed to get onto his left foot and then plays it through for Wirtz, who can shoot towards goal. Straight at Fabianski. Well held. Flag did go up on Wirtz as he was past the ball. So he may have not stood if the ball had hit the back of the net here. Adley from the right wing cutting onto his left foot. Playing the ball through, and Wirtz just had his left foot offside. Very tight, but the right call from the assistant referee. This game is going horrible. For who? Because for West Ham, I think this is... I mean, it could be worse. Still level at 0-0, but not doing a lot going forward. But that could change. Paquetá in a left wing position receives it from Ward-Prowse. Plays it through for Kudus, who can't keep it in as it went towards the byline. As he drifted from the right wing to the left wing. There's the game in general. You know what? I do agree. I mean, I try and be as positive as possible commentating on any game. But it is just attack versus defence. And Leverkusen on the whole are struggling a little bit to break through the West Ham defence. I mean, they did it quite well just a moment ago, playing the ball through to Wirtz. But in fairness, he was offside. It is slightly boring. I mean, it is interesting to see Leverkusen play because it is so fluid. As Frimpong works himself into the box, but the cut back doesn't reach anyone. Dealt with by Souček. Clearance from Emerson comes off Adley, and it's a throw-in on the far side for West Ham. But I mean, if we're looking at it at a West Ham point of view, the game is going decently well for them. The fact they're still level, but yeah, as a neutral, it's not the most exciting game I've watched. I've not watched Leverkusen loads this season, so it is interesting to see Xabi Alonso's side and the way they play, in fairness. But yeah, it's not been scintillating stuff, to say the least, as West Ham have lost it. Paquetá wasn't able to hold it up there on tar, and they've gone back to their goalkeeper, who quickly sends it back forward to Tapsoba. It's now in Xhaka in the centre circle. Wirtz making a run forward, doesn't use him. Xhaka instead keeps it himself and eventually plays it out to the right here to Adley. He's got Frimpong in front of him, but he goes back to Stanisic instead. Now out to the right to Wirtz. Only Schick in the box at the moment. Finds Frimpong. Couple more have entered the box now. As with Xhaka with 25 yards out. Forward to Adley. Back to Xhaka. Out wide it goes to the right to Frimpong. Got Antonio in front of him. Frimpong driving forward. Finding Palacios. Lays it off for Xhaka. In the box it goes. Header away by Soufal. Towards Paquetá, who can work it to Soufal, relays it into Paquetá. And down the line it goes to Soufal. Beyond the halfway line, he turns back and kicks it off Schick straight to Tapsoba. And it's Leverkusen in possession. Grimaldo in more of a central area here. He's looking out to the left-hand side and he finds Schick. Then to the right to Palacios. On once more here. Xhaka to Frimpong in the corner of the box on the right-hand side. Frimpong, back he goes to Palacios. To the left to Adley, cut out by Soufal. Good defending, and he finds Kudus, who will bring it forward for West Ham. This is where they need to try and capitalise on the little bits of possession they're having here, West Ham. Paquetá bringing it down the right-hand side. Cutting onto his left foot on the edge of the area. Paquetá still going, but then eventually stopped in his tracks by Palacios. And it is Leverkusen on the ball again. I'm not a fan of any of these teams. I'm a Rangers fan, but I love to watch other teams. For some reason, I think this is just going to be 0-0 and go to pens in the next match. Possibly, maybe, when West Ham are at home, they might play a little bit more expansive. I don't think they'd get away with playing like this at home. It is very defensive, but it's working, so you can't really hold it against them. It's whatever works for David Moyes to get his team a result here. As Liverpool are 2 down at home to Atalanta. Scamacca again with the goal. And this quadruple that was on for Liverpool is slowly diminishing in front of their own eyes here. 2 behind. That is crazy. As West Ham are on the ball inside their own half at the minute with Ward-Prowse. Goes across to the right here to Mavropanos. Now to the near side to Soufal. Just inside the Leverkusen half. Turns back and goes to Mavropanos. Forward to Souček. Out wide to Soufal. High ball into the middle of the park. It's a bit aimless. Picked up by Jonathan Tah. Put into the air by Xhaka. That's an interesting ball. And it's picked up by Kudus. Forward to Paquetá, who can keep it. Plays it forward to Kudus. He's working himself back out to the right wing here where Soufal's offering support. Kudus still has it. Finding Soufal eventually. And as he released it, Kudus, he was caught late by Tapsoba. And there'll be a free kick for West Ham in a promising position on the right-hand side. This game just doesn't feel right. This game just doesn't feel right in this specific match. I don't know, it's just very, like I say, one-sided, isn't it? It's not very open. It's a little bit harder to enjoy when it's just a lot of passing around and not a lot of result coming from it. But if West Ham can nick a goal here and they have something to protect, then this could get even more harder for Leverkusen. As we're just less than half an hour to play here. It's Ward-Prowse to deliver from the right-hand side. It's a 2-man wall for the home team. The ball will be delivered in by Ward-Prowse towards the far post. Header won by the captain, Tah. That is a really good header in the penalty area. And it goes to the far side for Xhaka, who's bringing the ball forward for Leverkusen. Finding Adli, who goes beyond the halfway line. They've got men over here, Leverkusen. Plays it to the right to Frimpong, who's going to go for the first time. Cross towards Wirtz. Well dealt with by Ward-Prowse at the near post. Clears it away for a Leverkusen throw-in. Almost a dangerous counter-attack working there for Leverkusen. As it's with Palacios. Back to the right-hand side here to Xhaka. It's to Palacios again, who's allowed to just relax on the ball here. West Ham keeping all bodies behind the ball at the moment. It's now Jonathan Tah. Out to the left side here to Grimaldo. Goes back here to Tapsoba. Across to the midfield now to Xhaka. Forward to Palacios. On once more to Adli. Holds it up. Lays it off to Wirtz. His ball forward. Comes off the head of Zuma. Straight to Adli. Xhaka out wide right to Frimpong in the corner of the box. On the right hand side. Goes forward. Wanting to shoot. He does shoot in the end. But it's straight at Fabianski, who is able to hold. And West Ham still surviving this game. Soufal set away. It's now with Paquetá on the halfway line on this near side. Shielding the ball away from Wirtz and bringing it forward here, Paquetá. This is an opportunity for West Ham. Curls it out to the left wing here to Antonio on the edge of the box. Tries to relay it into Paquetá. It deflects away from him and it's dealt with by Tah, who goes to Stanisic in the end. Feels like that could have been a opening there for the Hammers. Rangers should have beat Benfica, possibly, but I mean, you might disagree with me, but I don't think Rangers was at all good enough in the second leg at home. I don't think the performance was worthy enough of going through. In my opinion, actually, in the Old Firm derby on Sunday, I don't think Rangers were great in the game. I thought they lacked quality, too many high balls. It was pretty ugly to watch at times. Again, personal opinion. As Leverkusen put a cross in, and I think it comes straight off Soufal, straight into his face. And straight away, the medical team's been allowed to come on the pitch here. Grimaldo crossing from the left flank, straight into the side of Soufal's head, and down he went. you ever watch a Rangers game before? Yeah, I've done loads of... I've never been to a Rangers game to Ibrox, which I'd absolutely love to do at some point. I think that'd be really fun. But I've commented on them loads, which you'll probably like. I don't do many Celtic games, and if I do Celtic games, it's usually when they play Rangers. Just because I had a mate in school who was a Rangers fan, and he kind of got me into Rangers, like watching them and following them, like watching their Europa League games, and I've just always had a liking to them. And it was devastating when they lost that Europa League final, but I do plenty of commentaries on them, commentated on both legs against Benfica. Did their last game of the group stage against Betis. That was a great watch. That was really fun. As we're still just having a pause in the game, we're going to get a Leverkusen change here. It seems like the only one who actually looked like he was going to be able to do something in this game is going to be brought off. Jeremy Frimpong has been replaced by Nathan Teller, who they brought in the summer from Southampton after his brilliant loan spell at Burnley in the Championship. The second change is Josip Stanisic, the Bayern Munich loanee. He's been replaced by Piero Hincapié, Ecuadorian centre-half. So it's like for like, where Hincapié will come to left centre-back and Tapsoba will go across to the right. The guy named Fabio Silva on the team, he needs to go. I don't know if you've seen him before, but he was terrible. Yeah, his dive. I can't believe he won a penalty in that game. For me, that was never a penalty. I feel like Johnston got the ball and then Fabio Silva ran into him almost. But yeah, he wasn't brilliant in that game. Just too theatrical here. So back underway here. Kudus on halfway, getting away from Hincapié, who's just come onto the pitch here. Kudus has to hold it up because there's not many West Ham players around him. He does eventually go back to Soufal. It's now on the halfway line with Souček. Into the central centre-back of Zuma. Is Rangers a kind of club? I wouldn't say I support Rangers. I'd say I follow them. I follow them and I track how they're doing. And if they win or lose, it doesn't really affect me. But it's nice to see them win. Antonio in the box towards the byline, pulls it across, comes off the chest of Tart. And then back towards Antonio is Tapsoba. Kicks it off Emerson, and it'll be a goal kick for Leverkusen. Quarter of the game to go. Still 0-0 here. It'd be a brilliant result this for West Ham. As Leverkusen bring it forward. They're still inside their own half, just about, with Xhaka. Goes beyond the halfway line now and plays it out to the right to Teller, who can bring the ball forward with purpose, poking it through here towards Adley in the box, dealt with by Cresswell. And then Antonio caught late from behind by Tapsoba as he won that header rather aggressively. And that'll be a free kick for West Ham. Just went in with the elbow, really, Tapsoba, even though he tucked it in. Heavy one, that on Antonio. Don't think he expected that much heavy contact, in fairness. Johnston and Silva fighting like they were in primary school or something. They got to calm down. Who do you think is winning this? Oh, God, that is a question, that, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. Not just because you're here and you're a Rangers fan, but I think Rangers will just nick it. I think. I mean, it could go either way. It's that close, but I think Rangers might be able to do it under Philippe Clement. I really like him as the new manager or head coach, whatever his job title is. I really like him a lot. So that's who I think will win it. If they do win it, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. Still plenty of games to go in the Scottish Premiership. As Leverkusen bring it forward. Xhaka to Wirtz in the left wing position. He's got Grimaldo ahead of him. Wirtz drives forward himself and then eventually goes to Grimaldo, who keeps it in and crosses deep to the far post, headed down by Schick towards Adley, who shields the ball away and lays off for Palacios, whose shot is well blocked by Souček. And it's with Tapsoba, 25 yards out, thought about the shot, but plays out to the right instead here to Teller. Back into Tapsoba. It's now a Palacios. All West Ham plays behind the ball, with Jonathan Tah, the captain. Xhaka quickly shifts it onto the left here to Hincapié. Advantage played as Xhaka was caught late as he played the ball. It's now Grimaldo in the area. Gets away from Soufal. Crosses in and what a save! Header at the near post from Schick from 6 yards out. And Fabianski was able to turn it behind. Xhaka just about moving it on as he was caught late by Kudus. Hincapié off the bench. Played it into the path of Grimaldo, who got away from Soufal. Crossed it in at the near post. Headed towards the top left corner. And he's been superb tonight, Fabianski. Fingertips it over the crossbar. He's been really good. The experienced goalkeeper who's in for Areola, and he's kept his side in it at 0-0 here. Leverkusen take the corner short. Wirtz finding Palacios on the edge of the area. Squares it once more for Xhaka on his right foot. Shoots towards goal. Comes off Souček. Headed away by Mavropanos. Helped away by Paquetá. Well, as far as Palacios, who goes forward to Wirtz in a central area. Out to the right to Tar, the captain. Squares it through, and it's well blocked by Emerson. And it rolls out for a Leverkusen throw-in. Xhaka asking for a handball there, but Mavropanos, where it hit his arm, he had it right tucked in. Never going to be a penalty, that for Bayer Leverkusen. But Bayer Leverkusen have won their last 7 league games in a row. Of course, they've never lost this season at home. It's now with Tar, about 30 yards out, playing it to the left to Hincapié, off the bench for Leverkusen. So with Grimaldo, ball inside towards Schick, can't keep it away from Mavropanos. Now Kudus, tripped from behind by Schick, and that is seen as a foul, I was going to say. To be honest, it's LT Rangers at the back. It made, to be honest, even though, yeah, I mean, if Rangers play like they did at home against Celtic away, I think they'd get ripped apart. I definitely think the Rangers crowd helped the Gers come through that one. But we'll have to wait and see. We know how good Celtic are at home, usually. He has Antonio in the box, just played it behind Paquetá as he was aiming towards the penalty spot. And Leverkusen can bring it away. I commentated on a 0-0 last night. Ipswich, Watford. I don't want another 0-0. Not back-to-back 0-0s. Surely not. Hopefully we get a goal here as beyond the halfway line. It's with Palacios forward to Wirtz. Keeps it away from Ward-Prowse. Wirtz with it. Can he make something happen here for Leverkusen? Wirtz laying it off for Xhaka. Now out to the right-hand side now to Nathan Tella. Finds Xhaka again. 25 yards. He's going to shoot towards the bottom right corner. Fabianski lets it go behind. He knew he had it covered. And he moved his arms out of the way. So he didn't concede a corner kick. Not miles away, though, from Granit Xhaka, who has got the 1 goal so far this season. Came in February in the league to Mainz. Scored 9 in all competitions last season for Arsenal. However, they do have a chance. I feel the manager said something to the team at half time, whatever it is. So, yeah, definitely. I know what you mean. 100%. Should be very intriguing ending to the season, and that game at Celtic Park will be absolutely massive. I've definitely looked to try and bring live commentary of that one as Antonio shields the ball away here from Tella, and he's brought to the ground by Tella, pushing him in the back. It's a free kick here for West Ham on the far side, about midway inside the Leverkusen half here. As Leverkusen are looking to make more changes shortly. Obviously, we know that Leverkusen are unbeaten this season, but they haven't even drawn that many. You know, they've won 36 games from 41. They've only drawn 5 times, which isn't a huge amount, really. As we Ward-Prowse with his right foot, crossing it into the box, but no one is near it for West Ham. Easy catch for Kovar, the goalkeeper, who quickly kicks out of his hands. He slices it. It's not a great clearance, headed forward on halfway by Ward-Prowse. Chested down, though, by Palacios on the far side for Leverkusen as they work it to their captain of Tar. As Grimaldo loses it to Kudus, and Souček kicks it off the referee. So the play is stopped, and it'll be a West Ham drop ball inside their own half here. Now with the right centre half of Mavropanos. Soufal down the line for Kudus. Touch inside his own half here. It's not great, but he keeps it away from multiple Leverkusen players, and it's eventually a throw-in for West Ham as it deflects off Grimaldo out of touch. My pinch could be 4-0 half-time Celtic if we do the same problem that we did at Ibrox. I don't think we would come back and set 4-0. That's heavy. That is a heavy scoreline to be trailing at half-time. I hope that doesn't happen. As we're going to get more changes here. Amin Adli, the attacking midfielder, will be replaced here by Jonas Hoffmann, who hasn't scored in his last 25 games for Leverkusen. And it's a straight swap up front as well. As Patrick Schick, who's been very poor in this game. He's barely been involved. The man who's got 5 in his last 4 Europa League games. He'll be replaced by Victor Boniface, who's having a great scoring season for Leverkusen. Signed in the summer transfer window. He's got 16 goals in 25 appearances so far this season. 4 in the Europa League, all coming in the group stage. As we're back underway here, less than 15 minutes to play. Fabianski in the 18-yard box for West Ham. Clears it forward towards the halfway line, aiming to Kudus, who can bring it down really well. And he's pulled down in the end there by Hincapié. And Kudus now has it, plays it quickly toward Prowse in the centre circle. Shifting it to the left to Cresswell, who can find Emerson. Goes back into Cresswell. Ward-Prowse, forward to Antonio, lays it off for Emerson. He's had to Paquetá, almost through for Antonio, but it deflects for Emerson, who brings it forward. On the edge of the box, Emerson, tackled from behind by Palacios, wins the ball well. Teller can bring it away now for Leverkusen, chased down by multiple West Ham players. Last touch there off Teller, and that'll be a throw-in for West Ham. Just saw it, a little nick there off Nathan Teller. As Xabi Alonso was a youth team coach at Real Madrid for a year before joining Real Sociedad's B team as the manager for 3 years, where he was there until October 2022 when he took over at Leverkusen. So he's been here for quite some time now. As Paquetá tries to kick it off Tar for a corner, but he can't even hit the German international, and it goes through for Tap Zober in the box, and Leverkusen can build from the back. As Hoffmann's ball just goes behind Teller. Still a throw-in for West Ham in the Bayer Leverkusen half here. In my opinion, we just need to hope for the best. Rangers face Celtic. And Celtic don't fear Rangers. Well, I mean, that's your opinion. But I agree with the Celtic part. Celtic had no fear on Sunday. They looked so calm. They were going to Ibrox where they had no supporters of their own there. And they played a really good game. I know they conceded 3 in the end, but every time they were on the ball, they seemed calm. When they were defending it on the whole, they seemed calm. They definitely weren't fazed by the fact that they were on their own away at Ibrox. As West Ham give it away, Emerson, sloppy pass, can't find Paquetá. Verts forward, here's a Boniface. There's a running behind to his right, can't quite find Hoffmann. He does in the end, but I think he's offside. Fabianski's come out for it. He slides in and clears it away. The flag never came. That surprises me. I'm sure he was offside there. Hoffmann, as he was played through by Boniface, but Fabianski did well to slide out and clear the ball away. There's a ball in the box for Boniface. Tight angle on the right side of the box. Towards the byline. Gets in between Zuma and Cresswell. And it's cleared away by Ward-Prowse. And it comes off Boniface. And Ward-Prowse wins a goal kick for his team. Brilliant defending. Boniface played it through for Hoffmann. He may have just been onside, actually. It's a great ball from Boniface. Hoffmann was the one there. Fabianski wasn't sure if that was going to be a clearance he had to make outside of his box or in. It was inside the box in the end, but he took no risks using his hands. I think he slid and it came off his knee in the end. Emerson, high ball down the left-hand side towards Antonio. Headed out of the play there by Teller. And as he headed it out, it was a shove in the back there from Antonio. Free kick for Leverkusen in their own half. As around the grounds, it's still Liverpool 0, Atalanta 2. Milan still trail by a goal to 0 at home to Roma. Benfica 2-1 up at home to Marseille. There's Grimaldo tackled there by Mavropanos, throwing in the final third here for Leverkusen on this near side. Grimaldo takes it, throwing it backwards here to Hincapié. Now Palacios, all West Ham players behind the ball. It's out to the left side here to Grimaldo. Hincapié overlaps him. Grimaldo bringing it forward, finds the Ecuadorian, who keeps it simple, playing it to Boniface. Can't quite find the pass to the edge of the box there to Grimaldo. And West Ham can try in a counter-attack, but their pass is loose. Paquetá couldn't find Kudus. It's now a Grimaldo. Out to the left it goes here to Palacios. Boniface in the left wing position. Verts instead goes on his right foot and shoots towards goal. Straight down the throat of Fabianski. Easy save in the end. I think Philippe is the right manager. We have not found a right manager since... 100%. I mean, in fairness, Van Bronckhorst got you to a Europa League final. I think that would be a little unfair on him. I know he didn't really get you close to the league, but he won you the cup and got you to a Europa League final. So I think that's a little bit harsh on Van Bronckhorst. But of course, Michael Beale didn't exactly go to plan. I can give you that one. As Leverkusen, with less than 10 minutes to play here, still trying to break through the West Ham door. That is well and truly shut at the minute. Teller runs straight to Emerson. Good tackle from the Italian. He goes down the line here for Antonio. Tackle by Tapsoba. Falls to Souček. Goes back to Cresswell. Down the line to Emerson. Takes the touch. Plays a pass inside toward Prowse, who's gone all the way back now to Fabianski in the 18-yard box. He'll clear it long. Beyond the halfway line. Up towards Kudus. Loses out to Hincapié. Header forward finds Wirtz. And he goes back to Xhaka. Brings it down nicely. He can bring it forward himself here, the Swiss international. Well over 100 appearances for Switzerland. For Granit Xhaka, it's with Wirtz in a central area. About 25 yards from goal. Plays it out to the right here to Teller. It's now Xhaka. Forward to Wirtz. In the box. Wants the 1-2 Hoffman. He goes out wide to Teller instead. Low ball goes in. And it's dealt with by Zuma. Clears it out for a corner. I agree with that, but Giovanni failed. Yeah, and he said, 100%. Yeah, in the end he failed, but he had relative success at times. Brought some big wins for Rangers. As he'll be a left-footed in-swinger from Grimaldo. It's a deeper one to the far post. Tar heads it across. Drops towards Boniface. Big bot from Zuma. Another shot towards goal. And he goes all the way through the sea of bodies. And he hasn't scored in his last 25 games. That run now ends for Jonas Hoffman, who finally gets the ball in the back of the net for Bayer Leverkusen. What a moment for the number 7 for Leverkusen. Corner went into the far post, headed back across by Tar, shot towards goal by Boniface, came off Zuma, and on the volley, Hoffman from just inside the 18-yard box, running back towards the ball. Really good improvisation there. That's not an easy skill, having to run back to the ball and then kicking it forward. But he got it right in the gap where there was just no one in the way for West Ham. He couldn't have placed it any better. And through it went beyond Fabianski, who looks like he may have been unbeatable tonight. But eventually they've beaten him. And it's a goal scored by Hoffman. He started the season well with scoring after he joined from Gladbach in the summer. But he's gone a long time without a goal. He hadn't scored in his previous 25 games. But now, in a very important European game, he has got Leverkusen ahead. And with 6 minutes to play, plus added on time, it's Leverkusen 1, West Ham 0. From a set piece. It was a good block by Zuma with the original shot from Boniface. But Hoffman, all alone, was able to shoot, and he got it right through the gap where no one was able to block it for the Hammers as Paquetá's pass goes backwards there, and it's given to Boniface, tackled by Mavropanos, but he drops to Wirtz, who nutmegs Souček, and he lays it off to the right to Xhaka, who can slide in, keep the ball away from Emerson, and it's now on the far side here with Hoffman, back inside to Xhaka, across to the left for Wirtz. It's now Boniface in the box, on his left foot, angles tight, he's looking for the pass instead now. And he tries to get it back towards, I don't know who's going back towards here, but he's still somehow got it, Boniface. Then tackled by Kudus, and that's a fair challenge. He wins the ball. West Ham can counter. Kudus tries to go inside, but he's tackled by Palacios, who then battles with Paquetá, but he loses out. It's now through to Kudus. As West Ham want the equaliser, Kudus is tackled fairly himself, as it nearly went towards Paquetá. And it's Leverkusen who have the ball once again. Did someone just score? Yes, they did. Jonas Hoffman scored for Leverkusen. He came off the bench not too long ago. And it's given Xabi Alonso's team the lead here. It's only a 1-goal lead at the moment. They'll probably want to add another one to that to take to the London Stadium. I think Brendan Rodgers, the Roman for Celtic, is good, but I can't see him winning trophies. I mean, well, yeah, he's not had the greatest of returns, has he, Brendan Rodgers? It's not been as dominant as he was in his first spell. But Scottish football has changed since he left. Rangers are now a real force to be reckoned with every season. As we're going to get West Ham changes here. Konstantinos Mavropanos is replaced by Nayef Agird. And the second change is Mohamed Kudus, who's going to be replaced by wing-back Ben Johnson. So some fresh legs in there for West Ham who just want to protect this. It sounds stupid, protect a 1-goal disadvantage, but they don't look like scoring and they don't want to go 2 behind. If they can take it 1-0 into that second leg, I think they'll be happy with that, in all honesty. There's Liverpool are 3-0 down at home to Atalanta in their first leg at Anfield. They haven't lost at Anfield for so long. I don't think they've lost since the Champions League last season. They're well over a year without defeat. 2 goals from former West Ham striker Skamaka and 1 from Mario Pasalic. What a turn up for the Bucks in that one. As Leverkusen still have the ball. They're in their own half here with Hincapié. Finds a ball into the centre of midfield to Xhaka, working it away from Paquetá. Palacios forward to Wirtz. He's got Teller to his right. He goes to his left instead to Hoffman, the current match winner. It's now with Palacios again, out to the right to Wirtz. Outside the area, he crosses in towards Boniface, who can head towards goal. He heads it into the sky instead. And it's dealt with by Soufal towards Johnson, who is brought to the ground himself. But he eventually pulled down Xhaka. And that'll be a free kick for Leverkusen. Just outside the box on the left-hand side. Seemed a bit soft, that. As Johnson was battling for the ball with Xhaka. And the decision's gone against the West Ham number 2. Oh, it's very soft. Not a free kick for me, personally. But it's a good chance for Leverkusen to cross here from the left-hand side. Just outside the 18-yard box here. As they want to try and make it 2-0 to take into the second leg next Thursday. As Grimaldo crosses, it's a great ball in all the way to the back post where Jonathan Tah shoots. Big block from Agird. Drops to Xhaka on the edge of the box. Blocked off the line by Souček. Another shot blocked off the line by Souček. And another shot over the bar. What a series of events there where somehow Leverkusen haven't doubled their lead. Brilliant ball in from Grimaldo. It fell to the far post to Tah. His first shot blocked by Agird. Xhaka's shot blocked by Souček. Tah's shot blocked by Souček. And his third shot that eventually was over the bar. Bodies on the line for West Ham to try and keep this game at just 1-0. Leverkusen will 100% be kicking themselves if they can't take more of an advantage to London next week. As Rick say, literally Liverpool not winning is not going to win. So there's no way they can come back. Just no way. I think they messed up. Yeah, well, it's a big scoreline to be behind by, and the fact that's their home leg. It's quite worrying for Liverpool. You know, they've got to go away from home to Atalanta and try and turn that around, which does seem rather impossible. As Grimaldo in the final third is found in a left wing position, he crosses it off Soufal, and it's a corner for Leverkusen again on this near side. They want to go short here, Leverkusen, I think, as we're about to hit the 90th minute of play. Wirtz does take it short to Hoffman, the goal scorer. He crosses in towards Boniface, who heads it home. 2 substitutes linking up, and Leverkusen do double their lead. They have had to call upon their substitutes, and 2 of them have scored tonight. Both from set pieces, which will frustrate David Moyes so much. But you can't allow Victor Boniface to have a free header in the 18-yard box because he will punish you, and he has tonight for Leverkusen. It's his 5th Europa League goal. It's his first in the knockout stages for the season. Leverkusen went short to Hoffman. It was too easy for him. He was given so much time to cross it in. It was an in-swinger to Boniface, who again was coming back to get to the ball. It's quite impressive that. Having to just adjust himself, jump backwards to head it forward. That's really good from Victor Boniface. Headed it towards the bottom right corner. No chance for Fabianski as Boniface beat Cresswell to the ball. And late on, West Ham just could not stop Leverkusen from breaking through. And as we are into added on time, it's Leverkusen 2, West Ham 0. And that is a real game-changing goal for the tie. Leverkusen now have a 2-goal lead to take to the London Stadium, which will be very difficult for West Ham to overturn. Three minutes were added on. Leverkusen 2 to the good. It's definitely what they deserve. West Ham just haven't done enough going forward, really. They had some half chances in the first half, but nothing major. They've done absolutely nothing in the second half. And for the persistence and the just overall play of Leverkusen, they definitely deserve this 2-goal lead. It does not sound like something that would happen, losing 3-0 at home. Well, yeah, it's definitely. I didn't expect that result, in all honesty. I really didn't expect Atalanta to go and win at Anfield, never mind by 3-0. We've got less than a minute here, and again, it's Leverkusen dominating the possession. They have all game. They've had 73% of the ball. West Ham have had just one shot. It came from Kudus early in the first half. Leverkusen have had 32 shots. It's been a masterclass of a performance by Leverkusen. And late on in the game, they have worked their rewards to get 2 goals up. Wirtz in the left wing position, keeping it away from Soufal. It's now with Palacios on the edge of the box. Back through with Wirtz, who finds Hoffman in the area. Goes across. Xhaka on his right foot. He'll strike it towards goal. It's a comfortable save down low to Fabianski's right. And it looks like it'll just be the 2-goal lead for Leverkusen. As we've played the 3 minutes added on here at the Bayer Arena. And as the ball is sent forward, the referee blows the full-time whistle here. It finishes Bayer Leverkusen 2, West Ham United 0. It was attack versus defence, and the attack of Bayer Leverkusen has prevailed eventually. So much domination from the German side, and eventually it wore West Ham down. The first goal scored by Jonas Hoffmann with 7 minutes to play. A shot towards goal that went through a sea of West Ham bodies from a corner. As there was a shot from Boniface that was blocked by Zuma. The block fell to Hoffmann, who shot towards goal. And in it went to give Leverkusen a late lead, and they were able to double it right at the end into added on time. Victor Boniface heading home from a Hoffmann cross. From around 6 yards out, he beat Cresswell to it, heading it into the bottom right corner. Both of the goal scorers were players that Xabi Alonso introduced off the bench. And that is why they are where they are. That is why they have never lost a game this season. That is why they're in the cup final. That's why they're one win away from the Bundesliga. That's why they have won tonight to give themselves a great opportunity to reach the Europa League semi-final. They don't just have a starting 11. They have an unbelievably talented squad. And they can all bring in goals. They can all score when it means most. And they have given themselves the best opportunity to proceed through to another Europa League semi-final. They reached the Europa League semi-final last season. They were beaten by Roma, but they are a much better and they are a much more improved side now than they were last season. Who do you think is winning the Champions League? Even though it's a hard question, try to answer it in the best way you can. I don't know. I think Manchester City have got to be up there with one of the favourites. I don't know. For me, the Manchester City game, I watched it on Tuesday, And I thought for the first hour, I thought Manchester City were really poor. Just too slow. And I know they had the game on the Saturday, so it's understandable why they were maybe a bit slow. But I just don't think they were very good in the first hour. But they sped up a bit more and they got the 2 goals. So I think Real Madrid and Manchester City definitely have to be favourites, say. Arsenal, for me, were up there, but the fact that they drew against Bayern Munich kind of put me off Arsenal a little bit. And yeah, so it definitely has to be Manchester City and Real Madrid, I think. But it should be a really good second leg tie between Real Madrid and Manchester City. As we'll just have a quick look at the other results around the grounds in the Europa League, and Liverpool have been defeated by 3-0 at home to Atalanta. I said it before, but this quadruple dream is now becoming a distant memory. Liverpool are out the FA Cup. They are in a 3-horse title race in the Premier League. And they find themselves in a very difficult position in the Europa League, going into the second leg away from home, 3-0 down. Aston Villa currently lead 2-1 at home to Lille in their Conference League quarter-final. Milan still losing 1-0 to Roma at the San Siro. And Benfica look like they're about to see home their 2-1 win against Marseille. So every single quarter-final is still all to play for, even for Liverpool, with the fact they are 3 goals behind. But it'll be interesting to see how they all play out next week. In my opinion, Real Madrid will go through, and so will Arsenal. So we'll have a Real Madrid-Arsenal semi-final. Then it looks like Barcelona will go through against Atletico, possibly. That would be a tasty all-Spanish affair in the semi-final. But that is going to be the end of the live commentary here. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe before you go. The next commentary is on Sunday at 2:35 UK time, as Manchester United women take on Chelsea women in the FA Cup semi-final. And the commentary after that is on the Monday night, where Everton travel to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea in the Premier League. PSG might have a chance, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, I favour Barcelona in that one, in all honesty. I watched Barcelona a few times this season, and they look pretty good when they're on their top game. So, yeah, I think it'll be difficult for PSG to go to Barcelona and have to win that game. But, yeah, that is going to be the end of the commentary. Here at the Bayer Arena, Leverkusen had to be patient, but my word, they were persistent. They were able to break down the West Ham defence with 7 minutes to play through Jonas Hoffmann, who was goalless in his last 25, and he's turned up with a massive goal for Leverkusen. It was added to by Victor Boniface, the 2 substitutes, off the bench, scoring the goals, providing the moments for Leverkusen, which give them the lead into the second leg, as here at the Bayer Arena it finishes Leverkusen 2, West Ham 0.